All right. Good evening. I'm Franklin, and this is the chat room, and we'll be talking astrology on this Friday evening. You know where the moon sign is tonight? It's moved over to Leo, and when when your planets go through Leo, what happens is you pick up the Leo tendencies, and Leo is about fun and games and connecting with your inner child who loves to play, right? So as you become an adult, that play becomes gambling, daring to take a chance. So when the Leo influence comes in, as the moon sign is right now, we all are ready to take a chance. We're ready to get out there and double down on our bets and really have fun by pushing ourselves out to the edge of the stage and taking that chance. So, what you're going to feel for the next 2.5 days is the the good luck, right? You're going to feel like you were lucky. This is what gives you the courage to get out there and gamble. And that is the Leo influence, that inner child wanting you to have fun and have all of the experiences that lead up to fun. So what we're talking about tonight is you and your experiences. So if you'd like to join in on the chat room, we are, of course, still in Gemini for our sun sign. Gemini is the third house, and the third house is about expressing yourself. And here's Julie. Hello, and checking out the lamp here, the Himalaya salt lamp, which puts out positive protons and will fill the room. I've got one in every room of the house. It's really a mood lifter to have it's like being on water. Suddenly the protons are much more fluid and are helping you clear your mind and clear the room of any sort of physical dirt that's in the air. These lamps are wonderful. They have salt rooms in different places around the country where you'll go in and sit in with the salt walls, and this opens up your sinuses and really opens up your entire mind. So, Julie, what we're looking for tonight are the experiences that people are having right now with this Leo influence of the moon sign, and this making us want to move away from the fourth house we just came out of, the on Cancer, and which is not taking chances, which is covering all your bases. And Julie says, do crystals have any impact on our energy? They really do, because they pull the dirt not out of just the air, but also out of your mind. They really clear the air, and once you can breathe, you can think. That's, that's really the way the universe works. So the thing to do is, anytime that you have a situation come in, is count to 10. Give yourself time to think about what's going on, because we're under the Gemini influence right now, and Gemini is about speaking up. It's about the words coming directly from your heart and through your mouth without the filter of your brain. That's right. And instead of information entering from the top, going through your crown chakra and then coming down to your throat, what happens with Gemini in the third house is that they think emotionally, and their emotions jump out in front of their logical side. And this is why we have the twins as being the Gemini sign. And if you are having, no matter what sign you are, with the sun in Gemini, you're going to have Gemini influence in this month of the year. And with the moon sign now in Leo, what you have is a combination of the third and fifth houses. And that's making a leap by skipping over the fourth house, skipping over the logical side, just jumping right in and doing things such as going to Vegas and going on a gambling spree, feeling that you are lucky enough to spread your wings and try and see if you can come up with lucky numbers, that sort of thing. Why is it that seers don't win the lottery every week? It's because the lottery is honest, because it truly is a random selection of numbers. If anybody ever figured out a way to cheat in the lottery and there was a predetermined winner, every seer in the world would know what that number was. When when Edgar Cayce was a young man, one of the most famous psychics in the world, Edgar Cayce believed in his soul that gambling was a sin. And when he helped a friend with picking the winners in horse races, he had to punish himself because he knew it was a sin to help this guy win money in horse races. He took 1 year off. He could not use his psychic powers for 1 year. But the only races that he could predict were going to happen were the ones that were fixed. And it turned out half the races in that day were fixed and had predetermined winners. But that was the only thing he could come out with. Monica is joining us with, how are you? I'm doing very well. It's a good time of year. And this has been such a wonderful change year. Things are so much smoother than they were a year ago. Well, we really had we had a 5 year last year in 2021, and that's about knee-jerk reactions to anything, and taking action before you have a chance to think about it. This year is a 6, and 2022 has been a time when everyone can take a break, can count to 10, can breathe a little bit, and good things are happening. Good things are being generated all the way around the world. There's been a wonderful change in the overall atmosphere of the world this year. And things are happening for reasons. You're being led in certain directions. And when you understand where you're going, it makes things a lot easier. Mama Lit has joined us in the chat room, and we're trying to look at your experiences, how things are going for you this week. Monica says, you're very calming. Thank you for your time, efforts, and love. This is a wonderful thing for me too. I get to have my own therapy session. You're my doctor. I get to unload everything for you as I answer your questions. And that's the thing I do is I'm able to hear your spirit guides through your voice and through your questions. Writing things down is the only thing that's as effective as just someone's voice. But these are things that we all do for each other by listening to each other. Everyone in this universe has within them a miniature of the entire universe. They have access to the Akashic records. They have access to every bit of knowledge that's ever been in any human mind exists in the records. And the the wonderful thing about the Akashic records is that every soul on this earth has their own page. That means God loves equally every soul on earth. God sees no difference between any two souls. Mayu says hello from Mexico as we join up with our neighbors to the south here. Mayu, um, who was the friend that we were of yours that we were speaking about last week that you were asking questions about? The the change from last week, see, is that we are now in the moon sign of Leo. And this means that internally, what you are feeling emotionally is being powered by the sun. That's Leo's planet, right? Mama Lit says she's in Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver, out on the western edge. This is where things start in the Americas, that's for sure, and probably the most beautiful place of anywhere in the country. So we've got a good group tonight, and what we're discussing is what comes into your life and how you attract it, how you bring what you need into your life to wake you up. This life we're in is a sleepwalk, and we all bring things into our lives to wake us up. We know what we need. We know who we need to encounter, and these are the things that we bring into our life to complete the circle. There's not a straight line in the entire universe. Everything is curved. Everything is circular. Everything comes back to where it began. Uh, you will end up back in the same place you came out of when you're no longer in this material world. It's all a large circle, and good and bad are 2 points on the same line. That good and bad cannot exist without each other. When people ask why do bad things happen, it's to show you how much better good things are. Monica says that I meditate and visualize my family smiling and happy. I send waves of light around the whole world in my meditations. And this is what satellite communications is mimicking, is our ability to communicate with each other, to send messages, and to remember that you can send a curse just as easily as you can send good things. And when you get angry and you yell curse words, this is putting bad karma into the world. And the the thing that puts more karma into the world is sex, making love. If you make love to someone with any other purpose other than making them blissful, you're creating bad karma. If you make love to someone while you're thinking about someone else, you're creating bad karma. If you make love to someone wanting to make them blissful, now you're creating good karma. And this is the sort of thing that goes around the entire world. When the airplane pilot landed the plane on the river in New York City, there was a wave of good feeling that went around the entire world, that changed the entire world because everyone saw it on video. Everyone prayed that plane to a safe landing, and it worked. It was the group effort When people get together and think the same thought, it's very powerful. Monica says, I stopped saying God damn it and started saying God bless it. The there's a real thing that you can do to change your life, and that's to stop cursing. Stop making bad situations worse by cursing them. And the real thing is to stop the cursing in your mind, to stop talking to yourself and using those words, because those words are powerful. Those words, when you try to send someone else to hell, you're creating hell. Good example, says Monolith. Yes, yes. The the thing about sex is that people have tried to sell it as a product. This creates the war, the imaginary war between men and women. And it's the arms dealers in this race are media, the the provokers. They sell arms to both sides, right? And they tell both sides that the other side won't like them unless they use this particular product. So it's all turned into selling sex appeal as a product is what's so wrong with the world today. We use this fantastic medium, television, for all the wrong purposes. When it could be when it could be enlightening, and if television is big to me, you have to remember the year I was born is the year that network television really began, 1950. I've never had a day in my life when there was not television. It's always been a huge part of my life. And to think that there was a time when there were only three options for television, you can see what influence there was for uh, art to imitate life. And now we have the reversal as life imitates the art that it sees in movies and TV. Monica says, we all have collectively let the world become what it is. And this is very true. Uh, by hmm, by the fact that we can't judge each other. The worst thing you can possibly do is to judge another human being because you have no idea what their real motivation is. The the problem in the world is that everybody is working karma. And some people are working even more than one karma. And everything that comes to us on sunlight. And we get in each other's way. Sometimes we put shade on each other. Mama Lit says, how do you think the world was so easily flipped in under 2 years? Well, it would have been just as easy to create a sane world, but those people would not have made heroes out of the current politicians. So nobody saw the point in it. But it, it's always in what you feed the people, what kind of people you make, and of course what you feed your mind. It's propaganda. Propaganda works just as well as porn, and porn is undefeated, the world champion. Propaganda is advertising. Advertising is necessary because anybody that manufactures anything has to know what the public is going to want next month. So you use advertising to influence the public. Tell them what they want. Tell them that everybody else in the world drinks Coca-Cola except you. And it works. When people imitate more than anything else in the world. They Cody has checked in. Good evening, Cody. Good to have you with us. The thing about advertising is that Many, many studies have been run through the years as to the effectiveness of telling people a certain thing. And what they've found out is that it's really based upon the number of times that you see something. When you see an advertisement, a billboard or whatever, for the 32nd time, it becomes fact in your mind somehow. It changes. Monica says it's always the bad people in position of power. Could you imagine if someone had the best intentions for everyone and everything? That was the Dalai Lama, and he was run out of his home country of Tibet because he preached peace, and peace doesn't make money. I guess that's really the problem. A good person in position of power would be great. Um, the last one I remember was Jimmy Carter. That's a long, long time ago, and Carter was shunned by all the rest of the politicians because he was an honest man, a man who never told a lie, never had to, and today still probably one of the I think that Jimmy and Rosalind Carter truly are the most contented, happiest people on this planet. And if everyone had lived their lives the way that the Carters have, then everyone would be happy, and they would be electing happy leaders. It's because the people are unhappy that they elect unhappy leaders. We elect even criminal types because we want them to cheat for us. Why else would vote for them? Cody says back in the late 70s and the early 80s. Yes, boy, a long, long, long time ago. Monica says, but a good, sincere, genuine, loving person walks a hard life path, but because they're criticized for being different, for not caring, for not following the herd, for not having the herd mentality. Um, you can see the human population as a herd of cattle inside of a fence, and there's only so much grass. There's enough for every cow until they start fighting over the grass and wiping out the grass by fighting over it. And then the owner of the cows throws some grass over the fence to feed the cows, and they call this charity. But when someone asks the owner, why don't you just let the cows out of the fence? The reply, of course, is, how then would I milk them? Right? That's the world. Monica says, a good, sincere person, loving, walks a hard path. Cody says, we're finally going in to the Saturn Retrograde tomorrow. Now, you want to talk about human thought being powerful. Let's talk about the Saturn retrograde. A retrograde is when planets appear to stop in their orbit, maybe even move a little backwards. This is physically impossible. It cannot happen. What the reason that it seems to be is because we look at it from a moving platform. The Earth is moving, and all the planets are moving at different speeds. So they appear to stop or go backwards. Now, people have been watching this happen for 100,000 years. And because it's almost an urban legend that when that happened in the sky, there would be delays here on Earth. So many people have thought it for so long, they make it happen. This is thought coming into reality, thought manifesting itself here in the material world. So Mama Litz says, why though? Why is it going to be so hard for the good ones? Every person in this world is being used as an example for other people. Maybe only one other person, but for somebody. And you don't get to choose if you're being a good or a bad example. Your life is your teaching and the way you live your life, and it is used as an example for other people to learn from. This is why we have 7 billion people on the planet, so we can learn from each other's mistakes. We, instead of living 1,000 lives and being reincarnated, as the Hindus think, then why not have more people and learn from their mistakes and learn everything you need to learn in a short amount of time? This is why the world is so overpopulated and getting worse all the time. The more people that are on the planet, the more our thoughts can get together and become powerful, and the better that we can understand what we can do, what we're capable of. Monica says, "Crazy how no one knows what the future holds, even though we are creating it right now." And that's the most interesting thing about the Akashic records. Is there's different futures. There's different endings to your story that all exist, that are all possible, that are all the different ways that you're going to see your life in different reincarnations. You won't come back as the very same type of person in the very same situation. You'll see the other side of it in the next lifetime. Now think about that when you're looking back at your past lives. How maybe you were completely different. You were maybe the hammer instead of the nail in other lives. Cody says, always learning every day. This is why we have books, isn't it? You can learn something new every day of your life. Every single day of your life, no matter how long you live, you can learn something new. And when you stop learning, that's when you become rigid. That's when you feel like you know everything. Obviously, you're wrong. Nobody knows everything. It's impossible to even do everything in a single lifetime, much less to know everything. Monica says, life is either a miraculous scientific happening or a true spiritual blessing. And either way, it's amazing. And what's really amazing is that it's different for you than it is for me. 7 billion people on the planet, and it's different for each and every one. That's why we can say that anything is possible in this universe, because there's so many of us, and we've been here so long, and we're going through these same things over and over again, that anything literally is possible sooner or later. Everything will happen. So as we are gathering information, that's really what we're doing in this life, is always learning. Angel is with us now and says, that connected a few dots for me. And my, that's really what we're here to do, isn't it? To connect the dots, to take all of this information that's put out here in front of us every day and make sense of it. Information overload is one of the real problems today. There's so much that you can get. Cody says, the more things I've experienced and things I've been through, the more I know. To experience something, this is the key, to be awake enough to learn, to not ignore what's going on, to not just say, well, I don't care. Of course you care. Yeah. Everything happens for a purpose. Everything happens for a reason. And you have no time to waste. right? The Monica says anything, anything and everything has happened, is happening, or will happen in the existence of eternity. And that's what I'm saying about the Akashic records is there's multiple endings to each life. You do have free will. You are making choices every day that affect you and only you. God speaks to you through the angels, but he only speaks to you. You're never supposed to tell someone else what God told you to tell them. And this really is the problem with organized religions. They spend their time down at the bottom of the mountain, circling around, trying to gather recruits, trying to get more people into their religion instead of looking up on the top of the mountain where we all will meet. You know, the religions circle the world. They all need to rise up to a point where they can all come together. The Hindus were first. The Hindus were on this earth before the last ice age, 25,000 years ago. And when all life was wiped out, and then we have the creation story where God clears the clouds to create the sun, moon, and the stars, and the continents, the water recedes, and then we can see the land. these are stories that let us know how we came into being when the people who had died before the last ice age tried to be reincarnated. There were only animals on the earth. Animals had to come first, and and we built up to it. But this is why still today that people do have lives as animals. The Buddha could recall over 300 different lives. And in one of those, he was a rabbit that threw himself in the fire to save starving humans. So there are sentient animals, conscious animals. This is why we treat them as well as we do. Um, Cody says the more things experienced and the more they've gone through, the more you know, the more truth you know. I mean, most people have a hard time finding the truth because there are so many answers out there. Mama Litz says, "Why do you suppose twins happen?" Well, that's interesting. I'm beautifully blessed by my identical twin boys. Curious to know how it happens spiritually, or what you call it, before they came here. Ah, well, I don't know. I've never, I've never actually asked that question before. Why, why do twins? Why twins? Why? Uh, because of you. Because of you. You deserved two. You deserved double. It's the mother who generates the twins or triplets or whatever. And then that's wonderful. Way to go. That's great. That you you had enough love in your heart that the spirit world realized you could you needed to. You had so much love in your heart that's why the multiple birth. And they're they're both just perfect. They're both who they are, and they're both also together to like form this other entity where it's half of both of them. And so much of that is you, that you are a huge part of those twins. And this is why they're going to be so therapeutic for you, why they're going to solve every problem that you have, why they're going to be exactly what you want them to be. Oh, uh, Monica says, good about the Buddha. Yes, yes. What a wonderful life. The always felt. Cody says, always felt like God has put me down here for a good purpose. Always had people that will go to me for a lot of things. Yes, and this is the being a good influence or a bad influence. You People follow each other. People mimic each other. People, there's very little new on the face of this earth. People keep doing the same things over and over because they like to do what they see other people do. That's what that is what advertising does. It makes you believe. Advertising can make you believe that Coca-Cola and Santa Claus are the same thing, right? And boy, if you can get that done, that means you can do anything. You can convince people of anything if you tell them enough. If you run advertising 24/7 round the world without ever stopping, spend billions of dollars to make. That's how you spend money to make money, and that's what propaganda. There are countries, say Cuba, where they have plenty of billboards, but they're all government billboards telling you how wonderful the government is and how wonderful your life is. And you can imagine how much more content those people must be than the ones in this country who see our billboards always making us angry about something, condemning something, throwing something down under the bus, never telling us that they're really good, but that whatever the other side is bad. Negative advertising, is what I'm trying to say. And what else have we got up now? Mama Lit says, "I thought so too." On the twins there, yes, yes, that's a beautiful thought there, Mama Lit. That's really good. Yeah, cry when you cry. It shows you that you're talking the truth. You're seeing the truth. That the biggest reaction that a human can have is to cry, to feel that emotion from your heart. um, Angel says, "I'm an Aquarius, Sun Leo rising. I recently found out my rising. People always accuse me of being arrogant, and this hurts my Aquarius feelings. I live to help, but now I see the Leo, they might be right. That that Leo rising is how the world sees you. You they're going to come to you to ask questions. They're going to come to you and criticize you. They're going to tell you you're arrogant simply because of the way you look, and you can't help that at all. People people stereotype people and can't get past it. Yeah. I grew up with handicapped people. People, blind people don't care what you look like. Blind people don't care what they look like. And it changes the world when you don't see someone recognize something in them and say, boy, that's exactly who they are. I know exactly who that person is by the clothes they're wearing, or anything that you just never know. And this is why you have to give people a chance. Now, Cody says, the girl I've been talking to for over 3 years, I've always felt like me and her had a lot of things in common, from my zodiac and other variety of things. This girl, Cody, this a 3 year talk to make this happen. You've got to quit talking and take action. It's time to move away from 3 years of this stage, okay? And the things in common are your guides talking to each other, bringing you, finding those common points. There are people in this world that you're supposed to have in your life who are not necessarily your soulmate. You relationships do not have to be sexual. There are friends on this planet that feel every bit as strong in their friendship as married couples do, or any sort of a couple, any people that couple. That is another thing. Angels are the only thing, our only connection to God. We nobody talks to God. Angels come to us. Angels always come to us in the form that we will trust. They come looking like us. This is why there's so much prejudice in the world. People think God looks like me, and everybody else, and is just downhill. But that's not the truth. It's that angels come to you in a form that you will trust, and they also come to you in your own voice. So when you're talking to other people, listen between the lines. When I'm talking to you now, my guides are speaking to me through my own voice. There's messages for me in all of this. Anytime I'm ever talking to anyone, and I would never try to tell anyone what I think they ought to do. I listen to their guides and tell them what their guides are trying to make known to them, what their guides want them to hear at that particular time. Cody says about the girl of 3 years here, the thing that haven't seen, thing about it, I haven't seen her in over 2 weeks, and I want to know when I'm going to get to see her. I see. So Cody, the girl is the reason you haven't seen her in 2 weeks is she's moving away from you. She's not feeling the spiritual connection, and that's the way you need to talk to this person, is to connect with her on a spiritual basis. That's what comes next. That's what you're ready for now. Angel says, I was reading the keys one day, and I swear I saw an archangel in my screen. Was scared. Took a hand and stopped reading. Okay. Angels come to you when you're alone, and they often startle you. Very, very often when you get a vision, it's your first reaction is to, oh, and it's like you scare the vision. It suddenly just disappears, and you're left wondering, did I really see that? Did it really come before my eyes? And That's really the thing. It didn't have to manifest out there. It only had to be in your mind. It only had to be in your eyes. And it's what you see in the eyes of other people that your guides are trying to get you to see. This is how your guides tell you about other people. You look in their eyes and you see, is there danger there of any kind, or is there love there? What you are allowed to see. Not everybody's going to see that, but you will see it. Cody says, I don't get to see her that much. We started talking about the girl there, and she's looking for a more spiritual connection, Cody. She wants to take it deeper, to find out who you really are, I guess. Angel says she agrees. I know I was not supposed to read that. Yes, rebellious Aquarius. And it's all in your mind. It's all in what you think is right and wrong, because you are the expert on you. You know everything that's ever happened in the world. You have access to it. All you have to do is ask your guides. They're not necessarily going to tell you the exact truth. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. It's like showing you other people's eyes. Your guides decide what they're going to show you, what you get to see, what you get to see in other people. And, to think that the rebellious Aquarius, it's the inventive Aquarius. That was yesterday. Let's do something different, Aquarius. That keeps you driving. That keeps you separate from the herd. That you don't go along with the herd mentality. If everybody walks down that way, you don't walk down that way. That's what Aquarius is. Aquarius is outside the box, buddy. Okay, Cody says, but I'm giving up on life because whatever it takes will be worth it by the end. I'm giving up on life because this will be worth it by the end of it. Well, Angel says, I see a lot of overlap in organized religion and occult scripts. Hell is in your mind too. If you believe in hell, if you send people to hell, if you damn you to hell, you're creating hell. There's no reason for it to be there until you create it. No. Cody says not giving up. And Cody, that's of course the answer. Well, why would you give up? This is not your only chance. You're going to come back in another lifetime. You can't do everything in a single lifetime. You can't be everything to everyone. You can't have a complete relationship with everybody who passes through your life, because they're working their karma. They have people that they're meeting from other lives. They're so often that we just bounce off of each other. And with so many people on Earth now, there are so many people who look similar. And there are people who are searching for like soulmates, people from other lives, and they're out there searching for them, and they see people that look very much like the person they're looking for, and it's because of television, because I talk like Johnny Carson with a Midwestern non-accent, because I watched him every night. I dressed like Johnny Carson. I had my hair like Johnny Carson. There are people who influence us to do what we do. We've got just about 10 more minutes now, and what we're talking about what we began talking about was the Leo influence. The Mama Lit says, so we keep coming and going, and there's no end. Well, it's a good question. It really is. The the Hindus are the ones who came up with the concept of the caste system, right? Where only the rich can judge the rich, the poor judge the poor. And in the caste system, you can have thousands of lives just to get to the next caste. And the only caste that allows you to go to nirvana is the guys who made up the story. That's the priest. From the priest level, you can rise then on up to nirvana. Um, so lives, no one knows. No one knows how many lives you're going to live, or does this all end? Is this heaven and hell that we're going through right now? Uh, there's there's no way to know until the end of your life, when you can also ask questions. You're going to be asked questions for sure, right? When your life ends, the angels will be there and they will show you every word that you've ever said and the effect that it had on every person. So it takes a while to download that, right? You're going to go through that, but you'll be able to also ask questions. And when you're no longer in this physical plane, you'll be able to understand. If someone told me right now exactly how heaven and hell and everything works, I wouldn't be able to understand it. I mean, I could get a basic notion of what they're saying, but I really wouldn't be able to understand. Um, I think the best thing, and Cody says he's like Jackie Gleason, and away we go. Oh, well, it's it is a wonderful place to live here on Earth, because we make it what we want to make it, and the the things that come, the things that are beyond our control, that make us do things, are put in our path to make us change. Change is change is the only thing that impresses God. It doesn't matter how successful, how high you rise in your profession. What matters to God is how much change you made in that lifetime. How far did you go from where you started to where you finished? Did you learn nothing? Boy, you're going to have to come back in another lifetime. And that's an interesting point too. You don't have to come back. Where do you think all these spirit guides come from? They are people who are satisfied being in the spirit world. And they're going to be in the spirit world, not in heaven, because nobody goes to heaven until we all go together. This is why we have to enlighten each other until everyone is enlightened. Cody says that away we go. How sweet it is. Oh, yeah. Mama Lit says, sure do love these little talks. Thank you, Franklin. That makes me feel so good. That is the payback that I get from trying to help you, trying to help you see what I've been shown. I spent 50 years unable to cry. I was that closed down, and to think that someone as closed as me is able to open up now and experience these things. It just shows you that, and it could happen for anybody. It's there's God plays no favor. Uh, there is no good or bad. You there's good in the worst of us, and there's bad in the best of us. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, And the more we learn from our mistakes, the the better off we are. The the less drama we're going to bring into our life to make us change, to make us see these things, to make us appreciate the absence of bad things. That's what good is. Good is just the absence of bad. And what you have to remember is that no matter how bad things get, there's only so far that that pendulum can swing before it has to start coming back. And it's going to have to go all the way back before it will start swinging bad again. This universe has been going on for billions of years. People have been here for 200,000 years. And it's people have basically been the same for all that time. They just get more knowledge, they learn. Cody says, like I said from earlier, I'm not giving up life, dreams, goals, even the girl I've been talking to for over 3 years. Well, yeah, yeah, that's giving up is really not an option. It's people don't give up. Wars never end. Nobody ever admits defeat. They just lay in the bushes and shoot guys in the back. You don't defeat people, and that's why war is so pointless. It just happens over and over and over and over again, and you get nowhere. You accomplish nothing by shooting each other. But the world does go on. We must live here. There is no other world. So make the best of it. That's the only advice that makes sense. You just have to make the best of whatever cards you've been dealt. You have to play the hand that you're dealt. When there are people on this earth who are very disadvantaged, and those people are like Job, but they don't lose their love of God. They don't blame God. So much of the problems in the world is because people get mad at God. So that is our time. And I'm Franklin, and I will see you next Friday night at this time. Same place, same station. I love you. Thanks for being here.